All right, so this video is all about the 5 reasons that I love living here in the city of Temecula, California, and really what I think makes it so great. Let's go ahead and get into it. Hey guys, hey again, my name is Justin Short. I'm a realtor and team leader with the Short Real Estate team here at Keller Williams in Temecula. And this video is all about the 5 reasons that I love living here in the city of Temecula. And really, I'm just gonna go over my favorite things about living here, why I decided this is where I'm gonna stay here with my family, raise my kids, and really why I think I have so many clients that decide to move here and decide it's such a great area. So before we get to all the information though, if you are liking real estate videos like this, please do me a favor, please hit like, please hit subscribe. Obviously it helps me and it helps my channel as we try to continue to grow it. And then we have new videos that we put out each and every week, so that's the best way to stay on top of those. So we have for market updates to best neighborhood recommendations, or different video walkthroughs and new construction updates, all types of different stuff that's all just here local in the Temecula, Murrieta, and Menifee area. And then if you guys have any real estate questions, of course I'd love to hear from you. So you can feel free to reach out. You're gonna see my information either down below or at the end of the video. You can feel free, you can call, you can text, you can email me. Happy to answer any questions you may have. Of course, happy to point you in the right direction with your search, or if we can actually help you and be your realtor that's gonna help you out this way. I'd love to be a resource and would love the opportunity to help you. So feel free to reach out. Like I said, you can call, you can text, you can email. And we'll go ahead and we'll get into the video here. So again, we're going to go over the top 5 reasons that I love living here in Temecula, really what I think makes it so great. And I'll just kind of go down my list. So number 1, and I think this is probably the biggest driver for most everybody that decides to move here, but what I think the best part about Temecula and what makes it so popular and why it continues to grow is, bottom line, it is affordable for Southern California. Yes, home prices have gone up here over the last, I guess they got up across the nation, right? But especially over the last 10 years or so, as the area has continued to grow, we've seen home prices go up and up and up. The truth is the average home price in the city of Temecula is now, it's about $850,000, $860,000. So that is not, cheap or inexpensive by any means. It's actually much higher than the average price of a home nationwide. I think that's like right about 420,000 or so is the last stat that I saw. But compared to your other options in Southern California, this is still, I feel like, a really, really good value. So again, you can buy a home here for about $850,000. When you're looking in, San Diego, LA, Orange County, that's where most of the people that move here are moving from. They are moving from other parts of Southern California. But in those areas, the average home is about $1 million or more. And really what you get for that is, I would say, even doesn't feel like half the amount of home that you get here in Temecula for still a little bit less. So for example, that home down in San Diego, that's $1 million, might be something that was built in the 60s, might not be located in necessarily the greatest of neighborhoods as far as safety and maybe the best of school districts. And it's probably a smaller home. It's probably 1,300, 1,400, 1,500 square feet. Which means you have some older plumbing and piping and roofing and air conditioning if it has it, all just different maintenance issues and I guess concerns is the best way to say that, as opposed to here for that $850,000 home in Temecula. So it is more affordable, but you can also just get so much more, where you can get a home that's probably 2,500, 2,800, 3,000 square feet. It's probably built in the last 20 to 25 years. That means it's newer air conditioning, newer plumbing, newer roof. We have tile roofs, all types of different things where I think you're getting so much more for your money. And because of that, although the price point has jumped up quite a bit here, it is definitely still affordable for Southern California. And you can find homes that are less. You can find homes here for $650,000, $700,000, just gonna be a little bit smaller, not quite as large. So those definitely do exist, but that is really number 1. That's why I live here, because it is relatively affordable compared to other parts of Southern California, and that is why most people decide to make a move here. Number 2 is safety. So Temecula is consistently one of the top 100 safest cities in the US. They've been as high as anywhere in the top 10. I think one year they were like number 5 safest city in the US a few years back. They've been in the top 10, the top 20, top 50, and now we're in it's in the top 100. But the gist is it's a very, very safe area. You know, it is not like living in a big city where there's a bunch of crime or there's a bunch of homeless or, you know, other things that you see in Southern California. Temecula really feels like a bubble with all that because it is so safe. There is a very heavy, you know, police force presence for the Riverside County sheriffs. There's a big fire department here that does a great job. And there's a big military presence. So a lot of people don't always realize that, but because we are so close to San Diego County, there's 4 or 5 military bases that people live here and will commute to. So relatively close, anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour or so away. So that is, because of that, there's a lot of people that are in the military that do live here because it's a little bit safer and it's a little more affordable, and they'll make the commutes out to work. So that is definitely a big thing here. But bottom line, it is just a safe area, and when you're like myself and you're raising a family, having an area that is safe, I think it's a huge priority. And I couldn't imagine living in an area that wasn't that way. Number 3 reason that I love living in Temecula and why we decided to live here is the school district. So the Temecula Valley Unified School District is a very, very highly rated district. They win all types of awards. Really, I think they're nationwide awards that they win, and really across the board, from elementary schools to middle schools to high schools, all of the schools are really, really highly rated, from 8s out of 10, 9 out of 10, and 10 out of 10. And then our personal experience, with our kids going to the school district here has been, honestly, it's been phenomenal. We're super, super happy with the school. We're super happy with the principal, with how the schools ran, with the education, and just really what our experience has been. I do have a good amount of friends that do decide to opt to private school, so that's obviously something you're going to pay for. So I have people that do that if they prefer that. Usually that's more of like some type of religious beliefs and why decide to focus on that. That's what most of the private schools are here locally. But for us, honestly, the public school system has been awesome. We've been super, super happy with it, and it's where we plan to raise our kids in the Temecula Valley Unified School District. So that is a big plus for people to be able to move here, to have something that's relatively affordable, it's safe, and be a part of a really good school district. Number 4 thing that I love about Temecula is just the location, right? So it's in Southern California. I have lived in Southern California my whole life. I've never lived anywhere else, and honestly, I can't imagine living somewhere else. Maybe we'll have a vacation home or something out of the area one day, but to not live in Southern California, honestly, it would feel so undesirable. I can't, not something I ever would want to do. Definitely where I want to be. I like being close to the beach. I love being able to have great weather. I mean, today, I know the camera, where you're watching me, I'm inside the office, right? But it's the middle of December. It's gonna be, I think it's like 78 degrees and sunny and blue skies today. Just a couple clouds in the sky. Honestly, it's beautiful. There's gonna be Whitecap Mountains out in the background. I don't think you can beat it. We get very little rain. We actually need more, but I just think the weather is so hard to beat. It gets a little hot here in the summer, but I think being here in Southern California, having the great weather, and then being able to access all the other cool things that Southern California has relatively easily, I think is hard to beat. So you're about an hour or so away from the beach. You're about an hour away from some of the bigger cities like downtown San Diego, or say Carlsbad or La Jolla, or other areas like that. Disneyland, so Anaheim, most parts of Orange County. You're about an hour or so away from the desert, out to the Palm Springs area. You're probably about an hour and a half or so away from the LA, and maybe about an hour and a half or so away from the local mountain range. If you want to get up to the snow, or some different weather that's up there in the winter. So it's a super, super central location. You're in Southern California, you get the great weather. You can access all that other stuff really, really easily. And to me, I think that's a huge plus. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else besides Southern California. And then number 5, the last one here on my list, and really one of the reasons we plan to stay here long term, because it is a growing area. The city of Temecula is something that has grown a ton over the last 20 years, really last 10 years, last 5 years. people continue to move here and the area continues to grow because it's so desirable. And it's because of the things I just rattled off, right? Because it's affordable, because it's safe, because it's got a great school district, and because you're in Southern California. It is an area where people continue to flock to, and so as fast as they build, they come. You know, the city of Temecula is pretty close to being built out. They're just kind of running out of space, but that's overflowed into the surrounding cities like Murrieta and Menifee and, you know, Wildomar, Lake Elsinore, all that different type of stuff as well. But because it's a growing area, it's appreciating, which means I expect, this is my thought, but I expect real estate values to go up long term. I think in Southern California, it's pretty much always gone that way. You know, long-term home values do go up. Homes are more expensive today than they were in 1980, and they're more expensive today than they were in 1990, and they're more expensive than they were in 2000. So long-term, I think it's really hard to bet against Southern California real estate. So it will be an area that continues to appreciate. It will continue to grow, especially if it stays affordable compared to the rest of California. If it stays safe, and it has a great school district. So I think it's a really good investment, and this is, you know, when me and my family and my wife, we talk about, you know, having investment properties and things like that, I want them to be here in Southern California because I feel like it's an area that will continue to appreciate and that will be a great investment long term for us and our children and, you know, our family long term. So anyways, those are the reasons that I love living here in Temecula. It's affordable, it's safe, great school district, great location, and it's a growing area that I think is going to appreciate long term. So anyways, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Hopefully that helps. You're seeing my information, call, text, email, and hopefully talk to you soon. Thanks.